Hey, hey, what's up, guys? What is up, you guys? I'm gonna try this audio. It's been a long time since I went live via audio. I almost fell asleep trying to figure out how to change my default picture. Tell me if y'all like my default picture. I think it's awesome. Let me go to my YouTube channel. But yeah, I think that this will be good. I feel like if I can do audio, then I can go back to going live at least once a day. And then I'll just come in here and try to do my video thing, every few days or something. But how is everybody? There are so many subjects that have come to me. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know which subject I want to touch on because it's just so many. I think what we're going to talk about though is this message that came to me about telling the story. Let me turn my internet thing off. I know you lying. I know you lying. I was really in here talking, y'all. Oh, okay. I don't even know where I ended. This is the problem with me going live on audio. Shout out to you guys who have been here with me when I was doing my Earth to School episodes in the very beginning, like 2 years ago, up until last year, and I was only doing audio. Now the good thing is that the messages come through to me a lot more clearly because I'm not looking at myself in a camera, and everything is just open. It just flows so freely. But the bad thing is that I'm not ever looking at the camera. So I don't even know how long that was that I was just going on and on. Where was I at? That's freaking hilarious. Okay, I think my live is up on Facebook. All right, welcome, you guys. If you're just tuning in, I am. Ooh, cool. There's audio captions on Facebook of what I'm saying. That's nice. Okay. So, I'm talking about the time that I received this message from my guides that I needed to stop retelling the story of something quote unquote negative that would happen, like whatever it is that would happen, that I needed to create a limit and only tell two people. So, whoever this live is for, it's for a couple of you guys, and I want to challenge you guys to do the same thing that my guides challenged me to. This might have been, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. And 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 I want to challenge you because a lot of times we just don't realize what we're thinking. Like, think about what you're thinking about. This is something I tell my kids all the time. Think about what you're thinking about. What are you thinking about? Because your thoughts give birth to your feelings, and your feelings give birth to your perspective. Your perspective gives birth to the story that you tell yourself, and that is your reality. Whatever you are telling yourself, whatever perspective that you have, is how you are feeling, thus, what you are thinking, thus, creating your reality. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every second of the millisecond, on the point of the minute of the second. Okay? That's what's happening. So, a lot of us do not notice that when something negative is happening, air quotations, when something that we do not expect is happening, we are telling the story again and again and again and again. Every time you do this, whatever the reality is, whatever the thing that just happened and you don't like it, uh, you had a payment plan set up that you didn't know, so it just wiped out all your money, or I don't know, you just lost your job, like whatever the scenario is. Every time that you tell that story, you are setting it, like you are just making it more set in stone. Like you're really making it comfortable where it's at. You are making it more solid. You are creating more resistance for anything else to happen except for what you keep telling. So that's the reason why I got this message this day when I was like in my early 20s. And I just can't tell you how much my life has changed since then, how much my reality has changed since I learned to stop telling the story over and over again. I feel like women are going to be able to relate to this more than men, if you can be honest with yourself, sis, because we definitely like to tell a story over and over again. We will tell all of our homegirls that call us that day or that week, and our mom and whoever else will listen. We will tell that story again and again. I don't know why my Facebook is saying that the live is no longer on there, but I'm really done with this technical stuff today. I'm over it. So, okay, there it goes. So, yeah, telling the story over and over again. I'm challenging you to stop doing that and to give yourself the limitation that my guides gave me, which was 2 times. Tell the story to 2 people, pick the people wisely, and that is the only people that you cannot tell that story a third time. The other thing is, what story are you telling yourself about scenarios? I feel like I talk about this in 100 million different ways, when it comes to letting go and creating a path of ease, and no longer creating resistance. And that has to do with whatever story that you are telling yourself. So not only is it about you repeating the same story, a lot of you guys are telling the same story too from your past. Pay attention, be honest with yourself. Let's put a pin in this real quick. Be honest with yourself. Let me tell y'all something about myself. For those of you who don't know, I've been channeling since I was a kid, right? This might sound repetitive to some of you, but it just means I'm supposed to say it because some of you didn't catch it when I said it before. Now, I was 5 and 6 years old receiving messages about myself, about you, about this earth, about us reincarnating here, all this stuff, right? And a lot of times, especially in the beginning, I feel like as life went on for me, I gained more acceptance. So as I got into like age 9 and 10 and 12, I started to have more acceptance. And I believe that I didn't have these questions so much. But in the very beginning of my life, as far back as I can remember, from like age 4, 5, 6, when I would receive these messages about us and, our reality and what we're doing here and stuff, a lot of times my respond to these messages was, yeah, but how do I stop coming here? Like, how do I, like, I was very, very much focused on not coming back to earth. This was just my main thing all the time. And my guides would be like, you see these adults here, you see this individual, this person has been here 500 times. This is like whatever information that I would be getting. And often I would be like, yeah, that's cool, but like, why am I here again? Like, what am I doing? Give me the step-by-step process, because I just knew I wasn't coming back. And here I am. And so very young, they would tell me, you gotta get you gotta get your levels in. You got to get your levels in. If you don't want to come back here, if you want to graduate from reincarnating and having an earth experience, you can do that, but you got to get your levels in. Like, you got to get your checkpoints. It's kind of like a game, you have to go past the level. And so I kind of, like, at a really young age, I'm not going to say that I grew this obsession, but I was born with it. Like, I came here with this obsession of, how do I not have to keep coming back to earth? I know a lot of people are saying this now, and that's like a thing. But I am here to tell you that I was having these these conversations with Source really, really young. It was my only focus. And I shared in one of my last videos how I would literally, like, look at my body and my skin, and I would be like, what the heck? Like, I'm back in this body. Like, I couldn't believe, like, there were moments of shock that I would have just looking at my limbs. Like, I'm really back in human form. What the fuck am I doing here again? Like, I thought I did the steps, right? So I say all that because my 35 years, or since I can remember, 30 years of being here, a lot of the way that I move and the way that I am, it has to do with those steps those instructions that I was given to not be able to come here. And what I have been able to, like, practice or conclude myself as, after getting those messages of what to do to not have to continue to reincarnate on earth, it was about getting your levels. And in order to do that, you got to be accountable. Like, you got to be real with yourself. So a lot of y'all are not seeing the shifts in your life, and you're doing a lot of quote unquote manifesting, as far as like affirmations and stuff like that, but there's not a lot of the big positive shifts, because you're not being real with yourself. I keep it real with me. I keep it real with me. This is why, and I'm not like, I don't say this humbly, because I'm not here to be humble. I say this truthfully, that I'm honest with me. So, like, when I'm doing something that I know I'm gonna have to learn a big lesson from, or something that's just not out of the character that I want it to be, if I'm being negative, if I'm like, I don't even know, I can't even think, but like, whatever the things are, I'm keeping it a buck with me. Because if I don't keep it honest, like, I don't have to tell y'all shit. I need to tell myself, though.
So if I don't tell myself, then how can I how can I grow the awareness that this is even an issue in order for me to change it, in order for it to not be something that I have to keep on working through and a lesson that I keep on learning so that I can get past that lesson and that will no longer be a thing so that I can no longer have to reincarnate here. This is how I've been thinking since I was like 5. Okay. So I know there was a point of that. And that had to do with, okay, being honest with yourself. So you got to be able to keep it real with you. It doesn't matter if you lie to me and you lie to your therapist or whoever else. This is the same thing I tell my clients. And it's really crazy to lie to somebody that you know is channeling, because I'm going to know that you're lying, right? But let's just say that it's not a thing with, like, you're not speaking to me, you're speaking to someone else, or you're speaking to yourself. It's really, really crucial that you're honest with yourself, because how can you change it? So I would have had to keep it real with me to know that I do have a habit of thinking negatively whenever something bad happens. And I do have a habit of retelling that bad thing that happened over and over again. You got to keep it real with you. How can you change if you don't keep it real? So pay attention to yourself. I don't know if you do that or not. You know, if you do that, if you keep it real with yourself, you can be honest and say that, yeah, when surprises come up, I jump to the first thing. I mean, it's almost human nature. And this is why I say that women, you're going to be able to relate to this more, because men don't do as much expression as we do, especially if it's something that they don't like. They're a man's, like, the average man's response to a surprise and something that happened that they didn't want is to actually not express it and to hold it in, versus us, we just operate on having to let it out. So my ladies, especially, be careful with how many times you're telling the story about something that you didn't want to happen, and then going forward, from that, going further than that, um, telling the story in a different way. Let me make sure that I'm not missing any comments on Facebook. If you are commenting, I'm sorry. I can't see the comments right away whenever I stream on both platforms. Thank you for tuning in. If you're just now tuning in, then I'm talking about a message that I received many years ago about how I tell my story, how I tell the story of something that took place, and the importance of not continuing to retell it, and then how you're telling it. So what I'm talking about is not like a big story. I'm talking about any little thing. Let's say that you're driving and someone who doesn't have the right of way cuts you off, and I don't know, almost hits your car or kind of grazes it. This is obviously a negative thing you don't want to happen. You were on your way to somewhere important. Now it's a whole thing. But when you get back in the car after you're done exchanging information and all that, what you tell as far as like what happened and how it happened really makes a difference. And the amount of times that you tell. So if you get on the phone with your partner and you tell the story one time, you get to your destination, you tell the story again. Then you get to the next destination, or let's say someone comes over and you tell the story again. This is normally what's happening. We're normally doing this all throughout the day with all the little things as it little bitty things to really big things. We're just telling the story from a 1% perspective. You guys have heard me say that neuroscientists say that we only see 1% of what's really happening in a scenario. So 99% of what's taking place, as far as like the lessons that everybody was supposed to get out of it, the blessings out of it, all this stuff, you're only seeing 1% of it. So that's one thing. And then again, um, you retelling it. So I want to challenge you guys, if you're just tuning in, I want to challenge you to do what my guides instructed me to do many years ago, and that is to um, not tell the story so many times, and to check yourself with what is the story that you're telling. It sounds really crazy, guys, but if you're experiencing something and you tell a story that is opposite or close to opposite of what actually happened, if you tell the story like you really wanted it to happen, let's say, you can literally change your past. It sounds crazy. Neville Goddard talks about this a lot. If you don't know who Neville Goddard is, you should look him up. He's like the one of the first to really talk about like quantum physics and creating your own reality. And I'm sure Neville has a book on changing your past. I know it's kind of trippy to even hear that, but it's a real thing. And it all has to do with the story that you're telling yourself. You have your conscious brain that is super aware. You guys have seen me show my chart that I use for my clients on breaking down the different brain waves and stuff like that. So it's a real thing. It's science. It's really in your brain. And you have these brain waves where you have one level of your conscious brain that is aware of everything. It's going off of what you see, what you taste, what you smell. And then you have your subconscious brain. This is the woman. She's in the back. She is taking on whatever the man, whatever your conscious brain is giving her, the protector that's in the front. And she is basically doing what women do, making a house a home. She's taking that information and she's making it real. She's making sure that you feel it. So your subconscious brain doesn't know what's going on. She's getting the information from the man in front of her, from her protector, your conscious brain, your ego, the one who says, okay, I'm not going to believe it if I don't see it. Okay, it's right here. So I'm seeing it. Like, this is all your conscious brain. This is your flight or fight. And it really does make a difference. You can tell yourself a different story. You can change the story about something traumatic in your childhood, and all of a sudden, after a certain amount of time, a certain amount of days or weeks, that will no longer be that experience. You will no longer be having the feeling and the triggering experience and all of that was coming up before when you thought about that traumatic experience. If you change the story about what actually happened, it's so real. That's how powerful you are. That's how powerful you are. You can change the story. It really just has to do with your perspective. Why would you want to change the past? Because it has so much to do with your future. Unfortunately, we really go off of our past. So you can change your past. I've changed a couple stories in my past, a couple things that have happened that I thought happened to me, and I realized that it really didn't, or even before I realized it, I just wanted to change the feeling of it happening to me. And I told the story differently, and it's no longer the story that I was telling myself. So it's just the power of perspective. But that's pretty much it, guys. I said I was going to try to keep this short. Look at me at 24 minutes. I'm proud of myself because all my lives be an hour. And I'm so grateful that y'all stick with me, but I want them to be shorter. So let me know if y'all have any questions. If you were meant to hear this live and you felt this, you can share whatever comes to your mind. We're going to be out in a moment because I'm not staying on here for an hour. I actually have a session to do in like 2 hours. So yeah, I need to get off of here. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I really wanted to share this message. Such a powerful tool to get into the practice of changing the stories that you tell yourself and you tell others. Remember that I am challenging you to only tell 2 people. Don't tell, when the next thing that happens that you didn't want to happen, do not tell 3 people. Choose your people wisely and tell 2 people and see what happens. Just see how faster that scenario changes for you. I think it's in, not the last video, but I think it's the video that I'm about to upload. And I'm talking about how you really can split time and you can make it where you are experiencing something in a shorter time frame. You don't have to experience something so sad or depressing or traumatic for so long. It really does matter what your perspective is on it and how you're telling the story. And depending on whatever that is, you can be in a timeline of something for a few weeks, a few months, a few years, or like that, you can change it. It's so amazing how powerful we are to do that. It just shows you that we're really in a simulation here. You really can change your reality by what you tell yourself, by what you tell others. Okay, guys, let me put, I've been trying to remember to do this. A lot of you guys ask. Let me see. You can go to my website. If you want to book a session with me, you can visit earthisschool.com. Come in with y'all's questions, because I feel bad when I'm hanging up the thing and then you ask the question and it's too late. So if you have any questions at all, it doesn't matter what it is. You can ask a personal question if you want, and my guides will assist with answering the question for you. But yeah, you can visit my site, earthisschool.com. You can also email me, dayla@earthisschool.com, if you are looking to be intuitively coached or to go into a past life, if you want to speak to your loved ones, if you want to become your own reader instead of me giving you the reading, and getting your own answers to questions. That's the MDR session, the multidimensional regression, on my site. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I hope this was a good message, whoever it was meant for. I hope you got it. Yeah, I'm going to try to do this, y'all, where I go back to doing my audios sometimes. Shout out to you guys that have been with me for a minute doing my Earth is School videos when they were all on audio. If you remember, in the beginning, I had no video. I was just doing like podcast audio form. And it's so much easier. I would really be going live like a few times a day. I get messages all the time, and I could just go live and just do it and just say it. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to see what that's like again. And so, yeah, this is my first attempt in like 8 months doing that. I'm not going to do the background music this time. I used to have these lo-fi vibes, if y'all remember. But I just don't feel like doing that. I just feel like coming on here, bam, 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 and we out. Let's get straight to it. When I'm channeling, I don't know what this is about. Maybe if any of you guys are mediums or channelers, I would love to hear your perspective on this, your intake on this. But I don't know what it is. But when I'm receiving messages, if I am not on video looking at myself, I can be on video, but if I'm not looking at myself, then the messages come through so much faster, so much clearer. It's a lot flowy, and it's just there. And then also, I often have to move around. Does anybody like, are there any people that do like Reiki healing or something? And I actually noticed last year that when I'm reading someone or any of this stuff, even when I'm taking someone into, their another dimension, I have to move around. Like I have to like my fingers, I'm rubbing my fingers. Sometimes I'm rocking. I used to have to walk around. I've been kind of controlling that where I don't have to walk around, but it's just something about this. It's like I'm in like a vortex. Like I get into this flow, and when I'm on video, I'm still doing it, but just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it's coming with as ease when I'm just on audio and I'm not even looking at the camera at all, and I'm just like in my zone. I don't know what that's about, but I noticed a big difference. I noticed that my fingers do this kind of movement, especially if it's like, if I'm on the phone or in person with somebody that needs some kind of like physical healing or something, like if there was like sexual abuse or anything with your health or something, then I just noticed a lot of movement has to happen, and it don't really be looking cute on camera to me. So And it's a distraction. So that's why I think that's why my guys are like, okay, let's go back to audio a little bit so we can really give it to you. Please let me know if you know what I'm talking about, because I've been wanting to know what, like, who else experiences that. I noticed last year, like my fingers, they do this rubbing thing, and they sometimes, I don't think it's been happening lately, but like I have to rub them, and they're even sometimes it's a little hard. Like sometimes I'm rubbing them really hard, and I don't notice because I'm like giving the person the information or whatever the thing. I might be taking them into a place and stuff, and I'm just like, what is this? Very, very strange, but in a cool way. All right, you guys, I'm going to be out. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Stay tuned. If your notifications are on, then you can turn them on YouTube so that you don't miss my next live. Until next time, thank you for rolling with me. Peace out.